Going to go to break, but Shaquille O'Neal, your name came up about 24 times. A lot of roses coming your way, Shaq. First of all, you have to be thrilled about all of those compliments, but I'm just curious, is it okay that they're already putting LeBron and AD on the list of Laker great duos, and this is their first finals?
Well, one, this not about me. I haven't played in 10 years. I'd rather be mentioned with Kenny, yourself, and Grant and that. It's an honor to be mentioned. When I went there, I wanted to also make a name for myself. And those two guys are definitely making a name for themselves. They're dominant. They're doing what everyone in La La Land expects them to do. And they're playing great. But again, this is not about me. This is about the LA Lakers versus the Miami Heat. And look, they just went out and played. Again, going to the finals in 94, 95, getting embarrassed by Kenny, I always said to myself, if I make it back to the finals again, I have to dominate. Don't be nice, bully ball, elbow people, throw them out the way. And of course, I had the best player in the world on my team, but listen, we had big shoes to follow. You see Magic and Kareem, they really started the whole Showtime thing. They paved the way. So when I first got there, Jerry West sat me down, Kenny, and he said, look, I know you want to do albums. I know you want to do movies. And he pointed up to the Raptors. He said, but if you want to be a Laker great, I need you and Kobe to step up and start winning championships. So, LeBron, thank you for mentioning my name, but it's not about me. I haven't played in 10 years. I got my stuff right here. I'm happy with this, even though I should have had 6, because we should have beat them Rockets. But I told Nick Anderson, don't jump on the pump fake, and he jumped on the pump fake, and my main man Kenny hit the three, and it was all over.
That was Penny.
Yeah, Penny. That's right. Yeah.
But you talk about Laker greats. You know about Laker greats. Everybody always forgets Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. Like those two, that duo is just as good as anybody that would have played in this era for sure, or any era. So there's a legacy of Lakers. You can make all-time great teams just by taking Lakers and Celtics. Those two franchises have produced the greatest players that's ever played the game. So I will say that Anthony and LeBron, they have an opportunity to do something that Kobe and Shaq does because they're in their, like Anthony's in his prime, and LeBron is not fading. So what happens is now, you have a guy who's in his prime, and then it lasts longer. Like Kobe was coming into it, Shaq was not fading at that time at all. So he was still in his, his momentum. Even though this is LeBron's 17th year, he's in his momentum. So this is something that could be special for the next 3 or 4 years. Obviously the West is tough with the Clippers that are in the same arena right now. And you talk about the Golden State Warriors possibly coming back and Portland, all those things. But I don't think that LeBron and AD are worried about any of that. They're saying, we're here. We have now they have the experience, Grant, of being there together. I would like to see them. I would have liked to see them with the fans in the building. I would like to see the Carusos and Danny Greens on the road in Miami, South Beach going crazy. I would have loved to see that environment to get Game 3. Then I like that would be something different.
Certainly.
I agree with you, Kenny. I mean, I think first of all, both of you guys have won, and winning a championship and bringing that core back, the confidence you have, the know-how, and if they're able to pull this out and win this series and win and be champions, that confidence and the way LeBron has taken care of his body, there's some runway that these guys have, and they have an opportunity to win some games here. So, but I just got to say, 83-point Shaq in the games 1 and 2, like that's like for all them young kids out there that's staying up late. That was a bad man right there. I didn't like to go down.
41 and a half.
You know what that was, Grant? You know what that, Grant, was? That was barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert. Rick Smith, the Davis boys, that's barbecue chicken alert down there.
There's the Shaq we all know and love. I was wondering where you went. All that humble talk earlier, I couldn't believe it. I thought, gentlemen, it's so good to see you all. I'm excited to hear your take. Let's get right to it. The injury situation for the Miami Heat. How or if can they even recover, Kenny?
It's going to be deafening if they do recover. And you are going to hear the screams from Miami if they do. I think overall, I think they could have possibly Kelly O'Neal. They'll probably, go to Jones now, who didn't get much run. and obviously none. So they will be more athletic, and that will pose some problems for the Lakers. And before I go, I just, Shaq is going to go ahead and you can just say it, what you were going to say or saying earlier about is the church is ready and then but you do have to make it. He says, I look like a reverend today. So, yes, the offering plate will be coming around at 7:30. So be ready for it, and I will do it.
Such a good sport, Kenny. Such a good sport. I wasn't even going to go there. People at home had no
I know
idea.
he is. So I know him. You got to beat him to the punch. You cannot let the punch come hit you.
All right, well, let's go to you, Shaq. Without Bam Adebayo, how in the world can the Miami Heat handle the front line of the Lakers?
Well, I think it's going to be very difficult because, one, they already had a short rotation. Kendrick Nunn was out of that rotation, but it's going to give him the ability to come in and showcase his skills. I don't know. Heat mentality is no excuses. They're going to go out and they're going to play. I think if you rotate to the shooters a little faster and make it difficult for the Lakers to just stand out there and hit wide open shots, you give yourself a chance. But if you don't have a big body like Bam Adebayo and they're rebounding, taking up space and scoring, I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I'd like to give a shout out to the Durham Tabernacle Baptist Church that Kenny is a part of, and I will give you whatever amount of money you want, Kenny.
Amen. I get an amen.
Amen. And I got my money, Kenny.
brother.
I'm good for it.
Look
There
at
you go, baby. There you go.
Yeah.
Plates being passed around.
Hey, Stephanie, you can PayPal us at 1-800. PayPal us, no question. You take it all.
Thank goodness for technology. Look at you, Grant Hill, always prepared. I'm not surprised at all. Now, you are a former teammate of Goran Dragic, so we know the importance from the outside, but when you're the inside and you're playing with him, what value does he bring and can they recuperate?
Yeah, I mean, I played with him along with Shaq. We both had him his freshman or his rookie year in the NBA, and they're going to miss him greatly. I mean, he experience. He's had moments in the playoffs. He's a guy that can hit threes. He can get to the basket. He's crafty with his left hand, and then he just knows how to play the game. Understands, obviously, putting up great numbers during the playoffs. So, this is a huge loss not having Dragic out there. Just the point guard, the leader. He's steady, he's consistent. And I really think, kind of what Kenny and Shaq said, look, I think Miami's going for game 3. I think they could have tried to rush these guys back, Adebayo and Dragic. They're like, let's get more rest, more treatment. Hopefully they'll be ready and better to go in game 3. And then hopefully there's some things they can do better and guys will maybe step up. Kendrick Nunn had a great first game, 18 points in 19 minutes. So, Miami's not totally out of it, although they were overwhelmed in game 1. But not having Dragic out there is going to be tough. And someone else, or collectively, a couple guys are going to have to step up on the perimeter and play big.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Obviously, their bench, everyone is going to have to kind of move over and get ready to perform. Gentlemen, back into the discussion. You saw that graphic.
How did Grant get from the bubble to where he is now so fast? He was with Jared just now with a mask on, and now he's... Okay, my bad.
A lot of people mistake that. I gotcha. I gotcha.
I still got some speed left. I still got some good cartilage.
Okay. No problem.
So let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about this Lakers team. The two bigs, and I say that bigs because they're both big bodies, but I'm talking about LeBron James and Anthony Davis. What can anybody do to try to slow them down? It seems like they have really hit their stride right on time.
Yeah, Stephanie, they did, and they're playing great basketball. Is the play of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and from all indications, they will be.
Shaq, what about the play of Anthony Davis? We've loved what we've seen so far. Can he keep this up for the remainder of the finals?
I think he can, because when he first arrived in LA, LeBron instilled a tremendous amount of confidence in him by saying the offense needs to run through Anthony Davis. And even though we don't play through a lot of bigs in this era, they're definitely going to Anthony Davis, getting him in his spots. Myself, I would like to see him post up a little more, but he has tremendous.
It's been very impressive. Kenny, when you look at the two stars for the Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis combined the last game in game 1, they had 14 assists. You got to like those odds because you're talking about two superstars who basically have the green light, right, They can shoot anytime they want, but they find a way to get their teammates involved. How important is that as the series goes on?
I think it's not more important that they pass the ball. It's more important that those guys make shots. Because the Miami Heat are banking on the fact that you can't make shots. They say, we're going to zone you up. We're going to keep you perimeter because we can't guard you man-to-man because you're too big and too strong. So if Danny Green, KCP, Caruso, those guys make shots, Rondo, they're going to have to fold the series up. But if they start missing shots, regardless if Bam Adebayo's there today, they will make this game super difficult. And they did a good job, I thought, of keeping LeBron perimeter. I thought they did a decent job, even keeping at times Anthony Davis perimeter. But what they weren't able to do is contest shots by pros. They looked at those guys like they were high school players and dared them to shoot. You have to sprint out and contest the shot. You don't have to block it. You don't have to be in front of it. You just have to contest it. And they didn't do a good job of that, which they typically have done in the bubble in their zone. They ran to Kemba Walker. They ran to Tatum, and they made them. I think they respected those guys a little bit more than the three guys on the perimeter that, with the Lakers. They have to have that same energy like Kemba Walker and the rest of those guys.
All right, we're going to send you guys on a quick break at home because we still have so much to get through. Draymond Green, know that they're not traditionally the best in terms of volume three-point shooting.
Well, they haven't been the best, consistently in the bubble. No, they haven't. In the playoffs, they have. They've come ready to play. They've done a great job of, making things happen. But throughout the bubble in the early part, that was the question mark. They were really missing so many shots. And everyone was trying to figure out, is this going to be a team that could contend for a championship if they play teams deep into the playoffs? And they have. They've made that decision. They've made shots. But can you do it for 4 games? I really think, and Eric Spoelstra realizes this, that's the only way you win. Those guys have to average anywhere between 10 to 15 points a game for them to win. If they don't, we have a chance to win. That's what Eric Spoelstra is saying. So they did it last game, those 3 players, but can they do it for 3 more games? Because if you give up 30 points to LeBron and you give up 30 points to Anthony Davis, that's only 60 points. So where's that extra 50 points coming from to win the game? And he's saying, I bet you can't do it. And he can't abandon it because it didn't work the first time. He has to be consistent with it. Just like if you were a running team, you couldn't abandon it and say, I'm not going to run anymore. This is who you are, and then you have to make a staple.
Shaq, I know you like to talk about the others. What about the Lakers' others? We've seen KCP be very consistent, especially this playoff run, and you know that Kyle Kuzma is capable. Will they continue this?
Yes, because of the dominance of LeBron and AD, they're going to get a lot of opportunities to hit open shots. The Heat didn't do a great job of rotating quick enough. The guys were out there just standing out there with, a lackluster hand on their face. I agree with Kenny. Can they continue to do it? In order to win a championship, those guys are going to have to average double digits. But listen, you just need your others to go out and do what they're asked to do. We don't need them to do too much. We're going to get double, we're going to get triple. When I kick it to you, make the right play, whether that's shoot or make a pass and assist somebody else for another great shot. But all the others for the Lakers, especially game 1, they shot the ball very well and they played very well. But I think, the Miami Heat organization, they realized that they didn't play physical enough, they didn't play harder enough, they didn't play, rotate fast enough. So I expect to see those adjustments tonight. And if the Laker others can hit those shots, you just have to, tip your hat to them. But the question is, and I agree with the great Reverend Deacon Kenny Smith, can they continue to hit shots like that?
Grant, we heard Coach Van Gundy talk about...
Can I get the church and say amen?
Amen. We heard Van Gundy talk about the fast break points, the transition buckets that the Lakers get. They had 10. Miami outscored them in that game. Does that even matter at this point when you're talking about the Lakers?
No, it doesn't matter at all. The bottom line is, look, often Duke and Carolina don't get along, but we agree here. The others played big. 11 for 17 3-pointers in the first half for the Lakers. When you have Rondo, Morris, Kuzma, and KCP knocking down threes like that, you're going to win the game. And combined with Davis and LeBron playing big. If I'm Miami, Yeah, obviously you want to limit the fast break points, which they did a pretty good job. And I think they're going to try to play a little bit faster. None was pretty effective. That's what they have to do to be effective. But I wouldn't get too alarmed with the Lakers shooting. I would almost dare them to do it again. Don't give them wide open looks, but don't get too discouraged that they shot the ball like they did. That differential there in the first half, when they got hot, that was the game. And so just stick to your game plan, see if they can do it again. And also on the other end, you got to play well and play well on the offensive end.
All right, we'll see. We're going to go on another break because we got somebody who wants to join the party. Draymond Green is coming up next. We'll get his take on what's going to happen in Game 2. Can't wait to have him. You guys, stick around. We'll be back. LeBron James, D. Wade, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis. You can see their points, the years they were with LeBron, and their titles. Question mark by AD, because will they win the championship this year? We will see. LeBron James had this to say about his and Draymond. I'm going to start with you. We heard the comments from LeBron James. You've had your runs. You've played with MVPs. Does this statement ring true to you? Does jealousy always creep in?
100%. I think, we've seen it on several basketball teams, football teams. We've seen it in several bands, where the lead singer is doing his thing and, the number 2, number 3 feel like they can be a number 1. And, quite frankly, we've seen it in large companies as well, but it's just not in the public eye. So LeBron definitely has a great point there, and he and Anthony definitely seem like they have a great chemistry. AD doesn't come off as that type of guy, and obviously LeBron isn't, and that's why they're in the position they're in right now.
Shaq, I got to come to you with this since we're on this topic, because a lot's been said about all of your relationships when you've played with the other bigs that you've been partnered up with. Does jealousy factor in, and how do you try to curtail it or not have it come into a position?
I have to agree with Draymond, but you have to look at this factor a little different. And what I mean by that, LeBron is a guy, as great as he is, he's a little bit more Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan. What I mean by that, LeBron, what about him and Kyrie, two guys that, love to have the ball? Of course, jealousy may kick in there.
Was that the church calling?
That wasn't my phone.
Right now, they're calling him because he's on TV and he's not. Charles is calling him because he's jealous right now. He's on TV and he's not. So I'll jump into that too, because
you know who that was? You know who that was, Kenny? That was the. You know what that was? That was the members of your church saying that I need to donate some more money.
No doubt. You will harvest times 10, my brother. You will harvest times 10 with your donation, brother. I will tell you that.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Stephanie, jealousy. I played with and played with great players, and you watch that dynamic, how it develops. Two things. I think one, Anthony Davis said something the other day. I think it was maybe last week. He's like, I just remember 15 years old, getting on that Greyhound bus and going to LeBron's camp. So right there, you could tell that the dynamic of jealousy is going to be ceased, because he has such an affinity to a guy. He went to his basketball camp, and he was a member there, looking up, sitting in the stands or sitting on the floor as LeBron is sitting there telling the lecture. Like, he has that revering spirit. The second thing is your coaching and leadership. With Shaq, with Phil Jackson, they're able to bring certain things and make you not focus on that, knowing that it can keep in. Coaching is a big dynamic in terms of that. Front office management. I remember Shaq, and he's talked about it, and I could talk about things with Houston, but Shaq is here now. Management coming down, Jerry West saying, Shaq, we're not going to have that. Or Kobe, we're not going to have that. And that is huge with inside it, because when people see it prior to it happening, then they can help prevent it, or they can at least calm it down. But if you let the fury run, especially if you're a coach or a general manager or a president, and you let it run and then you try to stop it, the fire and the snowball's already going. So you have to have a pulse of your team if you're a coach or a general manager. And as a player, if you have a reverence to one of the players, then like with Dream and Clyde Drexler, they had a reverence of playing together in college. They knew each other at 18. They used to borrow each other's clothes, pizza money together. So they understood things that other players wouldn't.
Grant, can you think of an example, and you don't have to be specific, but where you've seen jealousy eat a team up from the inside out, and it serves as a detriment to their success?
Yeah, Stephanie, I won't name names, but I played on teams, with guys and not getting along, and it does. I mean, and when you look at the Lakers, and certainly these guys, sort of, summed it up best. There's been no talk, no nothing all season about this team. No dissension, no discord, no back and forth. Everything has been just a wonderful, wonderful spirit about this team. And you can tell they enjoy playing for one another and respect one another. But a lot of that, as everyone's saying, is because LeBron and AD figured it out. I think LeBron, being a player of his stature, a player who's older and mature, the things that he said privately, but also publicly, that this is AD's team. He's embraced that. He's publicly pushed him and challenged him and set the expectation level for him. And then you look at somebody like Dwight Howard, who, has had some issues where he's been, and he's come in. There hasn't been one problem whatsoever, at least that's come out publicly. So, I think a lot of that is the culture, as Kenny was talking about, but it's the maturity and the character of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And when you have that, when you have a situation where everyone's pulling in the right direction and you have talent, then you have a chance to do something really, really special. And in the words of Reverend Kenny, thou shalt not be jealous. And so the Lakers embody that.
This joke is never going to get old. Draymond, we have to come to you. We have to go to you, Draymond, because you're the only one of the champions on this panel that is still actively playing with the Golden State Warriors. So how important is it? Grant brought up a good point. Just because it happens in the locker room doesn't mean that we all have to find out about it.
Well, I think there's always things that's going to happen in the locker room that shouldn't get out. One thing I've always had a problem with is when media's in the locker room. I feel like the locker room is a sacred place for a team, and it's a place that only the teammates should be in. And because that's where you settle your differences. That's where everybody can put everything on the table. And Kenny said something that was huge. He spoke on the post. And I think, and to take it even a step further in what Shaq was saying, when you have a team, it's not always going to be your two best guys that's a leader. And so when you look at this Lakers team, even if something was happening with a LeBron and AD where that could have crept in, which I don't think it was at all, you have a Rondo, a Danny Green, guys who are experienced, who are also champions, who can step in and talk to the both of them and kind of play mediator. And I think that's always important. When you look at a Shaq and a Kobe,